study presentation today. We are group one from the course on design system thinking, and we're gonna talk about the wonderful story about the lucky lionfish and how it applied design thinking approach in its success. And before going into detail, I want to introduce a little bit about my group. My group consists of four people: Bảo Viên, Yến Loan, me, Thu Huyền, and Ngọc Quỳnh. And agenda today consists of six parts. First, gonna provide you some contact information, mean background information, and then we're going to analyze the design thinking process. Consists of empathizing, defining, ideating, prototyping, and testing. And finally, we will provide you with some results and social impacts on the world. So, have you ever heard about the lucky ironfish? It might sound strange and novel at first. What does that even mean, and how can this tiny, beautiful, and elegant stuff can save the lives of millions of people in the world and especially in Cambodia? And before exploring the design thinking story and social impacts of a lucky ironfish, I think it's important to understand the severity of the problem that the lucky ironfish is fighting against. So the problem question is iron deficiency, an extremely serious global stigma which is recognized by the World Health Organization as the most common nutritional deficiency. And by global, it means that every person from every part of the world is susceptible to developing iron deficiency or anemia, just at different times in their lives and at different levels. And there are particular groups of people who are more at risk than others, including children, pregnant women, people with low amount of iron in their diet, and high performing athletes. Now, back to the 2000s. Iron deficiency in Cambodia seemed to be very urgent. And why? We put some data on the screen to show you that one in four Cambodians suffer from iron deficiency, and more than 70% of the population are iron deficient. And it can lead to severe consequences, including anemia, impaired cognitive ability, increased risk of illness, and even more seriously, the fatality, the death. And in 2008, Canadian science graduate Christopher Charles visited Cambodia and shocked by the iron deficiency condition of Cambodia people, he came up with a solution of a lump of metal that can provide a family with up to 75% of iron intake and up to 5 years. However, it can release the proper amount of mineral if people won't use it, right? And the thing is, as Charles went from village to village, he found that his invention was rejected. And that's when the lucky ironfish comes into.
So in the emphasized stage, there are three primary key methods that the Lucky Ironfish powder has adopted in order to get a great insight into the Cambodia religious beliefs as well as their habits. So there are observations, study, documents, and interviews. So the first one, observations, which any of us could do. So during that time he lived in Cambodia, he realized that the living quality here is extremely low. So it's very necessary for him to create something that it must be cheap or at least affordable for the majority of the populations here. So when it comes to improving the iron deficiency, many people usually follow a very simple idea. Why don't we make an iron box, right? A feasible solution. However, in fact, it's not that much easy. So the soil temperature along with this kind of needle is very heavy. So it's very dangerous for customer to carry an iron box. So until this point, I could say that just putting an iron plume when cooking is considered to be a brilliant idea. Yet, once again, the story does not end here. While interview with the local customer, the founder sees that people refuse to directly put the pure iron bar into their cooking pot. Because for them, iron relay them something is very dirty, and they want to seek for some product that is more attractive. So, but yet, while in the same interview, along with some kind of study document, The founder has found that beside the lotus, the kind of flower, the fish is a significant symbol which represents for the lucky here. The conclusion I could make after this empathize journey is that an iron bar is probably just a tentative solution, but absolutely not an innovative solution. So let's move on to the device stage. I will briefly classify all the mentioned data into how might we model. Please keep in your mind five key questions. What problem? The user are not willing to cook with the iron bars. Why problem? It looks like a garbage. Who has the problem? The Cambodia. When the when the problem occurred for a long time ago, and how the problem was solved today. Take the medicine. However, the solution is not just with the living conditions of the Cambodia because it's usually very expensive and causing various side effects. So the complete problem statement would be how might we reset the iron for the Cambodian populations tackle iron deficiency taking into account their local beliefs and personal preferences. So if the problem has been defined, what are we going to do in the next step?
Moving on to the next stage, ideation. So we use the four piece model originally used in marketing, but we can also use this model to analyze how the business is run. About the product, why would customers cook with a dish for a condition they don't believe they have? So they must reshape the product to make it more aesthetic to the customers and the place. How do they spread their local impact with their large numbers of users? So we must improve the distribution to every remote, inaccessible regions and about the price because in Cambodia the disposable income is relatively low, so we must reduce the cost to reach to more customers. Promotion, they needed strong and supportive partnerships from local agencies, um, clinical trials, or other investment to to develop their business. Next, appearance matters. Why fish? Because their journey began in Cambodia, where their symbol fish is considered lucky and reproduc- reproductive. So, as you once said before, the shape of fish is attractive to the customers. Next, cost also matters. Nobody wants to waste money, and we have the affordability as we've seen at $5 per family per for 5 years if they use iron lucky fish versus $30 per person for 1 year if they use the expensive supplement pills. Cost also matters in terms of the production process. They used recycled car parts to produce lucky ironfish, and the packaging is biodegradable and produced in the local area. We also hire disabled Cambodians, many of whom are landmine victims, to spread the social impact. Distribution approach we use is a little tuk-tuk. That is a popular means of transportation on Cambodia streets, and it is able to travel on different local streets conditions. We also partner with local agencies to bring products to every home. Next, prototype and test stage. We found that the most problematic stage is research challenge. So we went through many shapes that are boring, irrelevant, and demotivating. Finally, we came up with um, some trials in prototyping stage. The first trial we used iron block in 2008, but it did not succeed. Next, we used the Happy Fish in 2009 and later developed it into Lucky Iron Fish in 2012. And finally, the eventual result is Lucky Iron Fish and Lucky Shakti model.
So, talk about the research. We have two main research we will talk about. The first one is the main research that the company want to have. It is reduce the incidence of anemia in Cambodia. So it's help 54,800 people feel healthier and happier, and it will drop in 50% of iron deficiencies after 9 months, according to medically tested. For the second result is cheap but effect. Is for a fraction of the cost of monthly iron pills, Lucky Iron Fish provide a whole family with sufficient iron for 5 years. You can see that the picture, one fish is you can translate into another type of food with same amount of iron. Um, Moving to the third result is not only focus on solving iron deficiency, but also research on user psychology. It's like Ying Loan and Yuan said before that the first shape of the iron is iron block. So the woman will never use this iron block because its shape is very ugly. So they innovate the shape of the product into two edition until now is the Lucky Iron Fish in 2018 and the Lucky Safety Leaf in 2019 for people to use. And for the fourth result is a project that is as practical as in it is very inexpensive and very humane. For every fish show that three fishes will be given away. More than 6,000 fish were donated in 2022. You know that there are 88 and more than 88 countries will receive this lucky iron fish by the company for free. 16 partners joined hands with the project. The project was awarded the Commit Action Award by the Cannes ones. So, conclusion is để em xíu nha. Khúc này em sẽ cắt ra. Um, the success of the lucky ironfish can be attributed to the application of design thinking. Two main takeaways that we can take into consideration are: firstly, it is a very human-centered product. They always observe and listen to the people's problems and psychological needs. And that's why the lucky ironfish can save a lot of Cambodians. Uh, Secondly, they have helped address a global stigma by just a very small habit of consuming iron from the fishery product, which is much more affordable, durable, and efficient. In conclusion, the Lucky Iron Fish is very successful social business, and they are not only available in Cambodia but also accessible to almost every part of the world right now, and is also a perfect um, example of design thinking model from emphasizing, defining, ideating, prototyping, testing, and self-reflecting. I hope that our presentation has brought some useful knowledge and about the very interesting product Lucky Ironfish and how it take advantage of design thinking model. So here's our references. Thank you for listening and feel free to asking question.